Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Some dads don't just tell bad jokes. They forge your signature, drain your credit, and gamble the way into a criminal record, all while expecting a hug for Father's Day. Today in the rLounge, how to turn 30 years of family loyalty into a 6-month jail sentence. Dad secretly took out a loan in my name, so I pressed charges and let him get arrested at my wedding. It started with an email notification about a missed payment on a loan. I was confused because I hadn't taken out any loans recently. The email looked legitimate, from a well-known financial institution, so I called the customer service number listed on their official website. The representative confirmed there was indeed a $45,000 personal loan in my name that I had missed a payment. My stomach dropped. I told her I never applied for this loan, and she seemed concerned. She verified my identity, and then she shared details that made my blood run cold. The loan had been taken out 8 months prior, and regular payments had been made until recently. She sent me copies of the documentation. When the documents arrived, there was my signature on the paperwork, but it wasn't my handwriting. Someone had forged it. Pretty badly, too. I checked my credit report and discovered my score had plummeted by 150 points. 3 credit inquiries I never authorized showed up, along with 2 other smaller loans, one for $5,000 and another one for $8,000. I filed an identity theft report with the police that same day. The officer took my statement but warned me that these cases were difficult to solve without leads or who might have done it. A few days later, I met with a detective assigned to my case. He asked if I had any suspicions about who might have access to my personal information. I hesitated. Thought crossed my mind, but I didn't want to believe it. My father knows all my information. He's had financial troubles before, but I don't know. It seems extreme, even for him. The detective suggested gathering more evidence before making accusations. He advised me to be observant, but not to confront anyone yet. That weekend, I went to my parents' house for our regular Sunday dinner. I watched my dad carefully throughout the meal. When I casually mentioned having issues with my credit score, he nearly choked on his drink and quickly changed the subject. Mom didn't seem to notice, but I did. After dinner, I excused myself to use the bathroom, but took a detour to my dad's home office. I felt guilty snooping, but that feeling vanished when I found a folder tucked in his desk drawer containing copies of loan documents with my forged signature. The same loans that were destroying my credit. I took photos of everything with my phone and sent them to the detective the next day. He requested samples of my dad's handwriting for comparison and advised me to freeze my credit with all 3 bureaus immediately. 2 weeks later, the detective called. The handwriting analysis confirmed what I already knew. My father had forged my signature. The detective explained that my dad had used the loan money to pay off gambling debts and renovate his basement. Then he asked if I wanted to press charges. I asked for time to think. The final straw came when my dad texted asking to borrow money for a temporary cash flow issue. The audacity was unbelievable. I sent him a screenshot of one of the loan documents with the message, "We need to talk." He called immediately, begging me not to tell my mom. He promised he'd pay everything back once his investment paid off. I'd heard that line before. We met the next day. He admitted to taking out the loans, but tried to downplay it, saying he was just borrowing my credit and planned to pay everything off before I noticed. He offered to start making payments next month and seemed confident that would satisfy me. I told him I'm considering pressing charges. He laughed. Actually laughed. "You wouldn't do that to your old father," he said, like I was being ridiculous. So be it. I called the detective the next day and officially decided to press charges. He explained the process and said an arrest warrant would be issued within 2 weeks. My mom called a few days later, saying Dad was acting strange and asking if I knew anything. I hated keeping her in the dark, but I decided to wait until after the arrest. I didn't want to give my dad any warning. The detective confirmed the arrest warrant had been issued. The same day, my dad texted asking for help with another financial opportunity. I ignored it. Wedding invitations went out, including to my parents. My fiancé suggested uninviting my dad, but I thought that would raise suspicion. Better to keep things normal for now. My mom called about Dad's tuxedo fitting for the wedding. I pretended everything was fine. During our conversation, she mentioned Dad had been telling family he was paying for our honeymoon. Another lie, as we were paying for it ourselves. The detective called to say they hadn't been able to locate my dad to serve the warrant. When I mentioned my upcoming wedding, where he would definitely be present, the detective suggested the possibility of arresting him there. My initial reaction was horror. An arrest at my wedding? But then I remembered that my dad laughing at me in the coffee shop, thinking I wouldn't have the guts to press charges. The more I thought about it, the more fitting it seemed. We agreed the police would wait until the reception to avoid disrupting the ceremony. I requested they be discreet, but firm. The wedding rehearsal dinner was surreal. My dad gave a speech about family loyalty and always being there for each other. During the reception, I signaled to our wedding coordinator, who contacted the police as planned. 2 plainclothes officers entered during the father-daughter dance. I let my dad finish the dance before they approached. The officers took him to a side room to avoid making a scene. I followed. They explained the charges while they put him in handcuffs. The look of shock on his face was priceless. "You should have taken me seriously," I told him as they led him away. My mom was hysterical, demanding explanations. I finally told her everything as my dad was escorted out. I know some people will think I'm heartless, but after years of financial abuse and his complete dismissal of how seriously he had harmed me, I wanted him to feel as blindsided as I felt when I discovered those loans. He thought he could manipulate me forever. The family ties meant he could do whatever he wanted. He was wrong. The day was supposed to be about starting my new life, and in more ways than one, it was. I cut the toxic financial abuser from my past and stepped into a future where I couldn't let anyone, not even family, take advantage of me again. My mom is still processing everything. She had no idea about the loans or my dad's gambling. 30 years of marriage and she never suspected he would do something like this. I feel bad for her. The legal process is moving forward. My dad's initial court appearance didn't go well for him. With the evidence so clear, his lawyer is pushing for a plea deal. The prosecutor says my dad is likely to serve time, though how much remains to be seen. My credit is slowly recovering. I've disputed the fraudulent accounts, and the credit bureaus are removing them from my report. It'll take time to rebuild my score, but at least the loans aren't hanging over my head anymore. Update 1. The morning after the wedding, my phone was flooded with texts. The most painful message came from my mom, who texted that she had disowned me for humiliating the family. The honeymoon was exactly what we needed, a bubble of peace. We managed to enjoy ourselves. When we returned home, reality slapped us in the face immediately. An eviction notice was taped to our apartment door. Turns out my dad was the guarantor on the lease, something he had insisted on when we first moved in, claiming it would help my credit. After his arrest, he stopped making payments, and the landlord had no choice but to begin eviction proceedings. I explained the situation to the landlord, showing him the police reports and court documents. He was sympathetic but said legally his hands were tied. We had 3 days to vacate. We packed our essentials and moved into a hotel. I attended my dad's arraignment via video call. Despite the evidence, he pleaded not guilty. The judge set bail at $50,000. I later learned my mom emptied their joint savings account to pay it. Finding new housing was a nightmare with my destroyed credit, but we managed to secure an apartment by paying 6 months up front. It drained our savings, but at least we had a new roof over our heads. In the middle of all this chaos, I received a letter from my mom. She apologized for her initial reaction and revealed she was filing for divorce from my dad. 30 years of marriage ended by his betrayal. She wrote that she needed time to process everything, but didn't blame me anymore. I sent a brief acknowledgement, but kept my distance. Her initial rejection had cut deep. The prosecutor assigned a victim advocate to help me navigate the legal process. We prepared my victim impact statement and worked on documenting the financial damage. After months of fighting, the credit bureaus finally removed the fraudulent accounts from my report, though the inquiries still affected my score. As the trial date approached, my dad's lawyer proposed a plea deal and my father would plead guilty to lesser charges in exchange for a reduced sentence. The prosecutor asked my opinion. After consideration, I agreed to the deal on the condition it included full restitution and a criminal record. I didn't need him to serve maximum time. I needed him to repay what he stole and have a permanent record of what he did. My dad accepted the plea deal last week. He pleaded guilty to identity theft and fraud. The judge sentenced him to 18 months with 12 months suspended, meaning he'll serve 6 months in county jail. He's required to pay full restitution plus interest and would be on probation for 3 years after release. The judge also granted my request for a no-contact order. Update 2. It's been 6 months since my last update, and almost a year since this nightmare began. A lot has happened, so I figured it was time to give you all a final update on the situation with my dad. My father reported to county jail to begin his 6-month sentence a couple weeks after my last post. The day he went in, my mom texted me a photo of their empty house with just her suitcase by the door. She decided to move in with her sister temporarily while figuring out her next steps. That same day, the first court-ordered restitution payment was deposited into my account. The system works, I guess. The court mandated family counseling sessions as part of my dad's sentencing. I only attended because it was required for his probation, not because I wanted reconciliation. During the first session, my dad joined via video from jail. When the counselor asked him to explain his actions, he minimized everything, saying he borrowed my identity because he was in a tight spot and planned to pay it all back. I refused to engage with his excuses and told the counselor I was only there because the court ordered it. By November, my credit score had started to recover. The second restitution payment arrived on time, which surprised me. I used the money to pay off wedding debt that my dad had promised to cover. Small victory, but it felt good. My dad's brother showed up at my workplace in mid-November. He demanded I fix the situation and drop the charges, claiming my dad was suffering in jail. When I refused to discuss it, he made a scene in the lobby yelling about family loyalty until security escorted him out. I filed a police report for harassment, but decided not to press charges. One family member in jail was enough drama. My father was released from jail in mid-January after serving his full 6 months. He was fitted with an ankle monitor for his probation period. I received official notification that he'd moved in with his brother, the same one who had harassed me at work. Our final court-mandated counseling session was a disaster. The mediator asked about my interest in reconciliation, and I stated clearly that I had none. My dad made a scene, shouting about how I was destroying the family and holding grudges. He stormed out when I refused to move past this on his timeline. The fourth restitution payment arrived late and for only a partial amount. My dad claimed financial hardship to his probation officer. The court was not sympathetic and ordered wage garnishment from his new job. At least the system is working as intended. My mom called a few days ago to say she'd finalized her divorce from my dad. She's moving to another state for a fresh start. I've come in contact with family members who enabled my dad or pressured me to drop charges. It was hard at first, but the peace that followed made it worthwhile. Some relationships aren't worth saving, even if they're with blood relatives. The restitution payments continue to be enforced via wage garnishment. My dad will be paying me back for years to come, a monthly reminder of his crimes. I don't need his presence in my life, but I'll take his money. It's the least he owes me. This will be my final update. The legal issues are resolved, the restitution plan is in place, and I've said everything that needs to be said. Sometimes, trash takes itself out. Thanks for the support, Reddit. He stole tens of thousands from his own kid, forged your signature like a drunk toddler, gambled it all away, and then had the audacity to laugh in your face when you dared to hold him accountable. Peak trash. The best part? He's paying you back. Every dollar that hits your account is a tiny, delicious reminder that crime doesn't pay, unless your kid is collecting. He got exactly what he deserved. Could you ever forgive a parent who betrayed you like this? Or is some line unforgivable? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next episode. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.